Well, that's good. I guess that I remembered at some point. What's going on here? What are you doing here, Emily? So I was getting to it, but then I forgot to record. So, anyways, none of that's in the recording, but I do host lectures in Zoom. And so, but I didn't want to post the Zoom link because then people get confused. I thought this was an in-person class, and it is. I just want to have options for you guys if you can't make it. And so this is one of those options. Now, if you are joining on Zoom, it's going to be as a passive observer because I can't see the chat once I am in another screen. And so you're just kind of hanging out, watching the screen, well, my screen, and hearing my voice. So there's obviously no setup or anything like that. So it's something, but it's not great. It's pretty boring probably. But I do host it on Zoom if you want to join in on Zoom. And then after class, if I remember to record, I'll post the recording on YouTube. Okay. And so just to show you on our Moodle page, I need to go back to my normal role. And now I can give you these links, show the Zoom classroom link, and show the link to the lecture videos on YouTube. This is to last year's playlist, but there's obviously nothing in our playlist right now. So once we have one, I'll make a new one for us. But I guess you could just learn the whole course right now if you wanted to. I feel like I saw a hand back there. Is that true? No, just seeing things. So that's a thing that I do, but then I managed to forget to record. There's always something in the first class, maybe first couple of weeks, forget something. Usually I'm on mute, which I don't think I was. Let me just check. Good. All right. So like I was saying, if you have a question, text me or email me, totally fine. It's just that a text feels a little bit more urgent, and so I act on it a little bit quicker usually. And one of the concerns that people have is, oh, you give your number out. That's so, oh boy, they must text you at all hours. I say, that's fine. I'm an adult. I can not text you back when it's inappropriate for me. And if I'm busy, I'll let you know. But just don't call me because that's really weird. So don't call me. But you can text me. That's fine. And also my ringer's never, ever on. So I guess it's embarrassing how quickly I respond then. Just on my phone all the time. But I want you to, if you have a question that you're struggling with, then what I would prefer is that you just send it to me, okay? I don't want you to think, oh, it's so late. I shouldn't be working on this right now. It's due tonight, probably, usually. That's fine. It's okay. It's not due yet. And so sometimes I'm sleeping. I'm allowed to do that. But in general, I find that the act of kind of formulating the question in a way that you can send to me helps. Okay. And sometimes just kind of putting the question out there in any sort of form helps. Okay. So many times I wake up and there's these kind of series of texts, and it's like, I'm freaking out. This assignment is due. I don't know how to do this. What am I supposed to do? And then it just ends with, I got it. Don't worry. Never mind. Figured it out. Right. And so that happens a lot. And I do think that kind of formulating the question is a really good first step in solving the problem. Okay? Don't just ask me, how do I do this? You have to try it a little bit, but obviously. Any questions so far? My office is like right there, C104, but in the old building, of course. But very convenient for me. And so if I'm here, it's my office hours, and I'm pretty much always here. So you can just text me or email me and say, hey, are you in your office? If you're in a different building. Where do you guys have most of your classes? E-building, probably. Yeah. Which once it gets cold out, that's quite a slog to get over here. You don't want to be going over here just to see if I'm here. So you can just, hey, are you in your office? Sure am. Come on by. Okay. And so for that reason, because I feel that I'm available pretty much all the time, I don't have official office hours, okay, because that's usually just me tethered to my desk when I could be, I don't know, doing something else, socializing. I don't know. Buying groceries. Who knows what I could rather be doing? But I'm usually available on short notice. And so if you just let me know, hey, can I come see you? Sure, I'll be there in 20 minutes. Cool. And so it's not so much an appointment as just, hey, when are you going to be here? When are you going to be here? Okay. Good. You got my announcement. If you didn't get the announcement, better make sure that that's working. I don't think I've had to call in sick for my entire teaching career. And so until last term, I was terribly ill. And I was like, I guess I have to send out an announcement, but I wasn't sure if it was going to everyone. And so it was, but yeah. So that's why I just want to make sure that you're getting those, because if I, for some reason, it's very unlikely, but if I, for some reason, have to cancel class or whatever, then that's how I will get in touch with everyone. Okay. And you've got the Zoom link, and I'll update our playlist so that we have our own playlist. I'm going to change up the order of the topics this term. So the old playlist kind of, it's all there, but only I know the order, I guess. You can ask me, but we'll go through the official course outline, but a lot of that stuff is what we're covering now. I post my schedule mostly to brag, no, but also because I use the same Zoom room for all my classes, and for kind of if someone wants to meet online, then it's just, that's always my Zoom room. And so if you're trying to get into my Zoom room at 10 on a Tuesday, that's a different class. So it's more so you know what's going on with my Zoom room than anything else. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? We're going to use a free textbook. It's pretty heavy, so I'm going to try my best to kind of shake out the good parts of it. But it is nice to have some sort of textbook reference. And so I posted the PDF here. I realized I shouldn't have clicked it because it's pretty big, but applied discrete structures, part 1. And so for next week, we're going to be working outside of the textbook. So numeration systems, change of base stuff. You guys done change of base things yet? Some, maybe. I want to beat them to the punch. So, because last year when I taught this, we did it at the very end of the course, and everyone's like, Emily, we've already done this. I've been doing this since the beginning. So then I have a huge note in my notes saying, do this at the beginning so that I can be first. Because it's really fun and I want to do it first. There's a Discord, and you guys have a computer science Discord, right? Pretty sure. I am really bad at being on here, admittedly. But Steve set it up, and Steve, you know Steve? No, probably not. Stephen Brown, he's in the office next to me, and so if I ever need help with stuff like this, he helps me out. So, but anyways, he started this Discord, and there are lots of other props on there, and so they'll kind of jump in if you have any questions. I think Paul, who teaches one of the other sections, he's on there quite a bit, and so you know how to contact me, and it's not on Discord. I try, but there's so many things. It's crazy. But it exists. And the poster is up there. Success Center. Has Kate come to talk to you guys? Kate Sidlar? No? Maybe I'll bring her in. She's really, really great. She works in the Success Center, which is in the library, where there's free tutors. Well, they're not working for free. They've been paid already, bought and paid for, but free to you. And so they do all kinds of subjects, and this course being one of them. I think you would want to talk to Josh or Kate. I think it's still Josh. Yeah. So Kate or Josh, they have schedules, and you can go see them. And it's kind of a first come, first serve situation there. And a lot of people just end up kind of slowly, they just start doing all their homework there just in case they get stuck. And it's kind of a hangout, kind of fun. But the Success Center is really great. And like I said, they've already been paid. They're getting paid whether you use them or not. So you may as well use them, right? And so, oh, there's a formula sheet that I've hidden. I got to go back to basics here, student. Otherwise, you'll see all my dirty secrets here. There. We're not gonna watch. Oh, we're not gonna watch it. I say as I click it. This I just wanted to highlight it. This Grit TED Talk. Angela Duckworth. Has anyone seen the Grit TED Talk? Yeah, cool. Angela Duckworth does a lot of kind of research in education, especially math education. And I always say that math is 80% attitude. And so it kind of goes along with that, and how to succeed in math if maybe you're not feeling so strong in math. Usually this group comes in feeling pretty strong in math, and so that's awesome. But maybe you just need a little pep talk, right? Nice way to start the term, and so I encourage you to check it out. But you don't have to. It's like 7 minutes long, so. We were kind of going back and forth on material, kind of still last minute, and so I'm holding off on posting the rest of the schedule. But once we've landed on something appropriate, like I said, I want to mix up how I do, or the order that I do things in. And so for this week, you don't get very much, but for each week, I'll have kind of a Monday, Friday schedule, although Friday, right? we'll see. But you'll have kind of an outline of what to expect each week and also how to prepare for next week. To prepare for next week's kind of easy this time. I want you to, you don't even have to download, just look at the textbook, just flip through it. Like I said, the link is up there. You can start reading chapter 1. We're not going to get into chapter 1 immediately because we're going to do some things that are not in the textbook first, but doesn't hurt to start reading ahead, right? And those, I'll just give you handouts for those things that are not in the textbook. So print them off, bring them here. I'll post the PDF too. Is there anyone who would? Well, this is a good opportunity. 1, how many are in here? 2, 4, 6, 26. Missing a few. Okay. Who would like paper copies? If I'm bringing paper copies of like handouts and stuff, just in general. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Good. Because I know it's not everyone, and I'll post the PDF, like I said, but it's a huge pet peeve of mine when I print too much. So at least if I have a good idea, majority, cool, awesome, can do. Happy to print, but not print to waste.
So you're printing assignments? Or?
Any sort of handouts, just like printing in general.
Where do we get the textbook?
There's a link here. This one here.
We have to like.
It's on Moodle.
You have to order it in.
No, it's just open source. It's just free.
Oh, it's online.
Yeah, you can order it. I think if I go to the actual course outline, all of this we talked about, you can purchase a hard copy for $29 US, but that would just be through Amazon. I'm pretty sure it's through Amazon. The link, let's see. No, I don't want to do that, but is here. So if you want a hard copy, then you can do that. But you can usually get away with the handouts that I provide you. So they'll be kind of standalone documents. Okay. Good. So it is an open source textbook, which is nice. So it's free, but usually that just means PDF. Okay. Oh, this is my old, I updated it when I realized I might be sending you to the wrong room. There. Obviously you found the room, so good job. Despite my wrong course outline. So some of the topics that we're going to be covering are not in the textbook anyways, so those I would definitely give you handouts for. Right. A lot of the LaTeX on this is weird. Went weird. What happened down here? I must have a slash somewhere where I shouldn't have a slash, I think. Anyways, I'll fix it. Or maybe not, because it's not that important. We're going to do assignments. Let's skip there, and then I'll come back to the content. Because it's pretty straightforward. We're going to do 20% assignments. A lot of those will be online through Moodle in a system called MyOpenMath, or MyOkanagan Math is our version of MyOpenMath, which has the cute acronym of MOM. And so, and it's just an online assessment platform, but you would just access it through Moodle anyways. So These assignments are mostly on mom. And mom is fun in the way that she's got some fun features like late passes. So I'm going to give you 10 late passes. Okay. At the beginning of the term, what a late pass does is if you apply it before the deadline, it extends your due date by 24 hours. If you need more time, right? Don't have to email me or get in touch with me or anything. You can just say, hey, I'm going to need more time. And so then you apply a late pass. The only thing where I'm kind of sticky on it is you have to apply the late pass before the due date has passed. Kind of in the same way that if you're working with a client and you've set up a deadline and you don't let them know that you're not going to make the deadline until after the deadline, that's pretty weird, right? That's pretty unprofessional. And so in that same way, I expect you to keep track of your deadlines, obviously. And then if you need more time, you can apply a late pass. If you need even more time, you can apply all 10 late passes to one assignment. I wouldn't because they're not worth very much, but it's up to you. And so I'll give you 10 late passes to use as you would like. Those are just for the online assignments. Sometimes I might give you kind of written work, but I'm not going to mark those because I'll just post the solutions. Man, it's a lot of work for delayed feedback for you guys. So, we're going to do 2 tests. I haven't figured out the test dates. Probably try to coordinate with the other 2 sections just so we're on the same page. And then the final exam is 40% of your grade. Okay. But the tests I will put on a Monday. I can promise you that, right? Because, wow, brutal. So, and there's a lot of holiday Mondays this term. I'm bunging things up too. That's all right. Yes. So the tests are on paper and no computers. You get a calculator. And do you guys have a recommended calculator in the program that you kind of have to use or no? Maybe something like this. Similar. Maybe. This calculator, do I have? Let's see here. Oh, how can I? I have a picture of this calculator somewhere. Not that one. There it is. How about that? How about them apples? Let's talk calculators for a sec. Where can I put this? I'm gonna put it at the very bottom. The reason I want to show you a picture of it is because when we're converting between bases, these buttons here are going to be really useful. So decimal, hexadecimal, binary, octal, okay? And so you can do all these conversions on your calculator. I'll show you how to do it, how it works, obviously. But then later, you'll just be able to do the conversions using these buttons. So if your calculator has these, cool. If not, it's not the end of the world. You'll know how to do it. But then you might see value in buying one that can do it. So we'll save that for next week, but just so you know what to look for. Sometimes it often looks, something like this. Okay? you'll want to have a calculator of some sort. Okay? And that's just for life, I think. Some calculator. Unless you're that confident in your math. Okay. So like I said, I want to change up the order of things, but in terms of what we'll be covering in the textbook, set theory is really fun, so that's cool. Combinatorics, I was talking to Paul just before we met, and he's like, I was looking at the learning outcomes, and it looks like we don't actually need to do combinatorics. Hence me holding off on the schedule, because it's like, if we don't have to do combinatorics, that is awesome. So just, we'll see. Only because it's pretty hard. We do have to do logic. Sounds easy, right? Well, it's not. It's really hard. But we'll get through it. We're going to do some exponents and logs. I might sneak them in more at the beginning, kind of as a review, pre-calc review, warm up. And then we're going to do some matrix algebra. We're going to expand on this term, a little bit more matrices, a little bit more matrix manipulations. We're going to talk about relations, functions, recursion. And then they've decided we don't need to do graph theory and trees, so that's cool. Even though it was kind of one of my favorite parts of the course, but like I said, we do have these learning outcomes. They're not going to make a lot of sense. They're not supposed to make sense at the beginning of the term, but they should probably make sense when you're studying for the final exam. And they're a really good guide as to what is important. I'll give you an outline as well, obviously, and we'll talk more about the learning outcomes as we study for the final exam. I feel like I wanted to say more here, but I lost it. So, pretty basic breakdown. Any questions so far? Okay. These are department policies, and some of them don't really apply to us because we're doing online assignments now and things like that, and they're kind of outdated. But one of the things that I do want to say is we do have these two tests, right? And what I want to do is I want to say first, if you miss a test, there are no makeup tests. I just transfer the weight of that test to the final exam. Okay. I can only do that for one of the tests, obviously. So it doesn't matter. I hate to say I don't care. I care about you as people, but I don't care about the reason. That doesn't concern me. Okay. And so that's none of my business. If you have to miss a test for any reason, that's stressful enough. You don't have to kind of confess to me. Okay, if you don't show up for a test, I know you didn't write the test. Okay, and so what happens then is I just automatically shift the weight of that test to the final exam. I can only do it for one. Obviously, if you have kind of legitimate reasons for missing two, which never actually happens, then you can meet with me and talk to me about it, and we can figure it out. But I'll do it for one test for sure. So then I know what you're thinking. Wouldn't a good strategy be then, well, if I didn't study, oh, I'm not prepared for this test, and oh, it's such a busy week, I can't study for this test, I'm just not going to write it. I don't want you to do that, okay? And so to avoid you doing that, what I will do is, as long as the final exam is better, okay, I'll shift the weight of one of your tests to the final exam. Okay? And so whether you didn't show up and that's why it's a low grade, or you didn't study and you weren't prepared, whatever, and that's the low grade, that's fine. My goal is that you keep improving throughout the course, right? And so as long as your final exam is better, I'll shift the weight to the final exam for one test. And so, because it's so valuable to come into this room and be nervous about that material and know how much you absorbed and how you studied it, and to see the questions and see kind of how your studying paid off or not, right? And so that's so valuable. So that's why I say, even if you're not prepared, totally fine, right? Just come in, write the test, see how it goes. Maybe you rock it. I don't know. Right? And then just don't worry. If it's bad, I'll shift one of them to the final exam. Okay? And so as long as the final exam is better. Now, sometimes I have people emailing me and saying, you haven't shifted the weight to my final exam yet. You said you were going to do that. And I'm like, but we haven't written the final exam. How am I supposed to? I can't shift it. I'm not going to shift it before I've marked your final exam. So I can't do it until you've written the final exam, obviously. But I promise I will. Any questions about that? In general, I want everyone to do really well in this course, right? I expect a lot of you, right? I expect a lot of work. I'm not just going to hand out, but I want to make it as reasonable as possible to get a really good grade in this course. Okay? So, I'm not out to get you at all. Oh, the final exam is cumulative, of course. And we don't know the final exam schedule until it's posted. And usually there's all of campus is a buzz. It's posted, it's posted, it's posted. Did you see it? Did you see it? Because it's an exciting time. You can book your tickets and think about not being in school for a little bit. It's exciting. So that kind of addresses don't give makeup exams, so I don't do rewrites or anything like that. It's just shift to the final exam for one. Attendance kind of bites me in the butt sometimes. Am I allowed to say butt? I don't know. I didn't. No, I did, but because it doesn't matter to me if you show up to class. Obviously, it's way more fun for me to have someone to talk to or talk at, I guess. But you're all adults. You can decide if going to class is going to work for you or not. That's, again, none of my business. You don't have to let me know or anything. I have all these modes of delivery, so I'm here in class. You can join on Zoom if you prefer, but kind of as a passive observer, or you can watch the videos afterwards, right? The videos, again, just have my shared screen and my voice. You're kind of missing a lot of hand gestures. Flossing. No, I never learned. But yeah. But it's something, right? So however you learn the material, cool. And so for me, attendance, it's more for my ego, I guess, that I would want you to come to class. Oh, they love learning from me. They just love it. And so, but that's what I wanted to say. Last year when I taught this with the same schedule, because I was so flexible with attendance, it was usually just me waiting around on Fridays, because no matter how gung-ho you're feeling right now, later on in the term, 4 o'clock on Friday is not going to be very juicy at all. And so then I'm just sitting around only to show up. And then there'll be one student there. And I'll be like, do you have any questions for me? No, just didn't want to miss anything. Okay, well, that's all I've got. And so I want to avoid that. That's really frustrating, mostly for me. And so attendance is not mandatory, but hence the need to change the Friday as well. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. No changing sections. But like I said, so after the final add drop date, you can't change sections. You can't say, oh, I'm going to go to Paul's section. But if you talk to your peers in the other sections and they sound way better, no, there's a ticking clock on that final add drop date. Okay? If you want to leave me for them. Susan's upstairs on the 3rd floor. I think above, maybe not in the exact same room, but anyways, she's got a section there. There's one in the E building. We're all here, different rooms. It's weird. Here's a kind of a downer. You hate to bring up downers on the first day, right? But and usually I kind of gloss over it because it's not really an issue. But I had a couple of instances last year in this course where people were doing really, really, really well, would pass even without writing the final exam, and they decided to do just that. And you can't do that because you have to get at least 45% on the final exam in order to be able to pass the course. Turns out, so I was super worried. I'm emailing, and you didn't write the final exam. Like, let me know what's going on. And then turns out they knew about this, and they just decided, nah, not gonna do this program anymore. So it was fine. But for me, it was a really panicky moment. So I want to make sure that that we're all on the same page here. I do have kind of a funny psychological thing. So when I say you have to get at least 45% on the final in order to be able to pass, sounds kind of harsh, at least maybe just to me. But if I say you have to pass the final to pass the course, oh, well, that's pretty reasonable, right? To me, that's a funny psychological thing because you have to get at least 50% on the final to pass the course. So the bar is actually higher, but it sounds more reasonable for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I think that's a funny thing to think about because that's how I don't know. I just reacted to that because I used to just have less. I use another one. No, it's because I said it. Another one. I used to have you have to pass the final to pass the course, and then the department came up with this, and I was like, oh, but then I caught myself. That's actually better. Technically, you're allowed a non-programmable, non-graphing scientific calculator, right? And that's from the computer science side, and so don't go out and buy a graphing calculator. I don't personally care, but just for a level playing field, let's stick to the rules of a non-programmable, non-graphing scientific calculator. And maybe I'll say see image below. Oh, wow. So small. Got a little wrist trouble that I just can't shake, but my writing was terrible before that, so it's not actually the reason. So I'll give you a formula sheet, but I don't want to turn you off, so I'm holding it hostage for a little bit until we need it, right? Because then it'll feel more relevant. And we're getting there. for the important dates, obviously a lot of these have passed and you made it through them. Labor Day probably being the easiest. Orientation Day, also pretty fun. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So you'll have a copy at home for your personal use. I'll post it on Moodle. And then you'll have the exact same. I'll just print off fresh copies for the tests, but it'll be the exact same as what you have. So you'll know what you have going in and what you need to have going in. Good. Thank you. Classes started. Last day to register. Here's that add drop date. Friday the 13th. Huh. Holiday, if you're anything like me. Maybe you don't get the planners anymore from the school. I used to love getting my planner. First thing I would do, mark down the last day of classes, work my way backwards with all the holidays, just so I had all the important stuff figured out. But the one I want to highlight here is the last day to withdraw with a W. Okay? And October 25th feels like a long time away, and it is. By that point, you'll have a really good idea of how you're going to be able to kind of perform in this course and all your other courses as well. Okay. And so the reason I highlight this is because it might be a good idea to kind of jot down and kind of reevaluate closer to October 25th whether you should be withdrawing from a course. Now, I know no one thinks they're going to fail a course, but everyone has a bad term. These things happen, and you just never know when that term is going to be. And so just keep that in mind. And the reason it's so important is because a W does not count towards your GPA. Okay? Whereas if you fail and you have a failing grade, then that does drag down your GPA. Okay? And so that's why that's so important. You do forfeit your monies, whatever, but not whatever, but money, time, effort, all those things, you do forfeit those, but at least not your GPA. Okay, so just something to keep in mind. And then, of course, the last day of classes is the 6th, and then we'll have final exams sometime between the 10th and the 20th, I guess. Okay. If you need an out-of-time exam, it's pretty rare, but there's lots of resources available there. We don't need to talk about that now. Academic integrity. You guys been hammered with academic integrity already, probably? Yeah, I know, I was kind of banking on that. Usually, because all I say is, well, not all I say, but I just feel like we all know what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. Kind of know it in your heart, what's right and what's wrong. Okay, and so and it is your responsibility to know what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. And I know that's really kind of gray of me, right? It's all gray areas. But in general, now all the talk is about kind of ChatGPT, et cetera. And so I encourage you to use it, okay? But obviously not to just do your work for you, right? It might be valuable to have it answer the question or have it answer a similar question and kind of walk you through it. I don't really care because you're only going to be able to do that on assignments, and they're only 20% of your grade. So yeah, in theory, you could have ChatGPT do all the questions. That's fine. It's not fine, but you're not going to learn anything, and then you're going to come into the test and probably not do that great. And so you kind of doesn't work, right? And so, but if you're struggling with a problem, then it's a really great tool, kind of, hey, can you explain this problem, how to solve this problem? Can you give me a similar problem? All those things, right? And so I think we need to embrace it, but also just, if you don't know the material, then that's kind of going to creep up on you later on, obviously. And I don't think that that's revolutionary. I think we all understand that, right? But use it to learn. That's awesome. Right? Student non-academic misconduct. Be nice to each other and be nice to me. It's not all it says, but there's links. Disability access services. They feel like they change their name all the time. But if you feel like, okay, I really struggle in tests and I haven't had the resources available to me in the past that I probably should have had, then they're the people to talk to about getting those accommodations. I get paperwork from them and that sets you up and away we go. But they're the ones to reach out to if you don't have those set up already, which is more my concern. If you have it set up, I would have received the paperwork already, so you know. But it's more important because a lot of people kind of come to school and feel like, hey, maybe I should have had these resources, but I didn't when I was younger, and then they can kind of help you get set up. So that's more important to me, I think. There's counseling, again, bought and paid for, so you can use them. And so kind of personal and career counseling, study skills, all those kinds. Yeah. And that's it. Any questions? Okay. Do you guys have a group chat, something that I'm not involved with? What are we going to do about the Friday? Never want to come in on a Friday again. And like I said, if you want to come in on Fridays, there are other sections that you could we could talk about. But I think they're all kind of toying with maybe posting videos and stuff like that, kind of playing to each instructor's strengths. But what are we going to do? Hand, yeah. Yeah, so everyone's schedule, I can look at each individual schedule. If you want me to, I can find an alternate time to do it. But I also don't know what your kind of outside school life looks like, right? If you have to take the bus or if you have to kind of feed the dog or whatever, right? I don't know those things, so that's really kind of difficult. But one thing that we could do is I could have all of you submit the times, the alternate times that would work. And I'll kind of work through those. How about that? I'm getting a thumbs up, a little head nod, nice, okay. Okay. Well, I've got some work to do, but yeah. I'm trying to think what the best way to do that is. Okay. I'll release you here. How about? I don't know what time it is. Oh, I blab forever. Sorry. I got you here. Oh, such an easy day. Oh, yeah, we're not going to do anything. I cut the numeration systems. Okay, but I guess I should stop this recording. Goodbye. I wave, but there's no video.